hey, they were interested and decided to come back and watch the second part. So let's get to it. So what I'm gonna do here now is just take this apart. Like I said, it's not officially done or anything else. I just got it kind of pretty much the way I like, and I'm just gonna take this apart and do some measurements for everything we're going to need. Basically, when we're done, it will look a little bit like that pretty much. And the door will actually, I'm gonna have it so it actually swings off this. So I do gotta make some changes. So let's get to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our skinny stick, and I am gonna measure this out to 7/8 and just make a mark with my knife. You can do this with a pen instead, but I don't have a pen on me, and I'll rather just use this knife just to kind of make a indication line where I'm going to be cutting this off afterwards. It's not quite perfect, but it'll work. So what I'm going to do now is I just take my little knife just to make an indication of where I want the holes to be. So I'm going to go 1/4 inch, and I'm going to make sure it's centered. Same thing when I'm drilling it out. I'm going to try to center it the best I can. I'm going to go in another 1/4 inch, so that'll be at the 1/2 inch mark. And then I will do another one at the 3/4, and that will be where the other one will be drilled. So I'm over here at my drill press, and I'm gonna go ahead and slowly cut these 3 holes out. Like I said, I'm using a 732 drill bit, and I'm just going to do my best to center these the best I can. Turn this bad boy on, it's gonna make some noise, and go for it. And there you are, the 3 holes for this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use a razor blade or one of my small little saws and cut this piece off. So now I'm just gonna take my tiny little saw here, and I am just going to try to cut that out. Now I see I kind of cut a little bit beyond the line, but if I need to, I can just sand that, but I want to be very careful with it. So now I have it cut out, and you want to be very gentle with these pieces because they will break very easily, and then you'll have to do this all over again. So basically I'm going to be doing that to a lot of these pieces. I'll probably just let you know what the sizes are and go from there. Also, if you don't have a drill press, and you can find a 732 drill bit, and maybe use one of those tiny little hand screws that you can get at a Hobby Lobby and a couple other places, you could just slowly drill it through. You just got to be careful with it and not put too much pressure, or it will split this wood. Now I did take this apart now because I want to get measurements of these wooden dowels here, so I have the right size when I decide to poke them through the foam. And it looks like I have 1 1/8, 1.5 inches, and 1 5/8 inches. So those would be the measurements you will need for that. So I made my measurement at 1 1/8 inches. I don't know how well you guys can see that, but I am going to use these snips here and just cut it at the point so it kind of flattens it and gives it a bit of a point. I could just use my little handsaw or my X-Acto knife and just kind of saw back and forth at it. You could do that. So that's all your call or how you want to do it. And I'm doing these at an angle because I want to have a bit of a point to them. Now I'm going to set up my second one and do it at 1.5 inches, and like I said, I will just clip this. So it has a point, and then we will do our last one, and I will cut that at an angle also. Now I will take my little piece that I did here, and I will gently push these through. I'll put the little one here. I have a little more space here than I have here. The big one will go here. The little one goes on this side. So I will push this through. And I will push it through the side where I drilled it through, because it's easier, and I'm just gonna push it through, give it just a little bit of room. I might have to play around with that a bit, but that's about all I'm gonna do with that. But there you go. I think that one piece is just a little too big, but if I need to, I can trim it down and it'll be just fine. So on this side of the prison cell, we are going to do the stick, the skinny stick, at 1 1/8", and that's where we're gonna mark it. And then we're gonna go a 1/4 inch in, centering it. Another 1/4 inch, so you'll be at the halfway mark, centering that the best you can. And then we'll do a 3/4, centering it, and then we'll do the 1 inch mark. Then we'll go over to our drill and drill it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera, and I'll be right back with you. So the next part we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to do this rod here and then figure out how long each rod's gonna have to be that's gonna come above here that will go into the ceiling or the roof of the arch here. And like I said, this has been beat up a lot, so a lot of this I'm just gonna have to kind of just guess and get it as close as I possibly can to what size that wooden piece should be. So I might have to go a little bit bigger with it and then just sand down the sides. I'm just trying to figure out where it would be on here. I think what we're gonna do is go 1 3/4 inches and then just work with that and see what we can do. So I set this at 1 3/4 inches, and I'm gonna go ahead and cut this out and then try to eyeball where the poles are gonna be and then put that together. So what I wanna do for this test piece here is now I have this piece of wood here that I've cut out, and I'm going to try to get it to sit where I want it to be. And the hard part is going to be trying to mark this because it is going to move. That looks pretty good there. And of course I want to get it as straight as I possibly can too with this sitting in there. So it's kind of, I guess, I wish I had my extra fine tip Sharpie, but I can't find it. So I have to just go off these measurements I have. So I'm hoping after I drill those out, that will be what I need. If not, I keep doing this until I get it right. Now, as you can tell, that looks pretty good. It might be off a little bit here or there, but there's always ways of fixing that if need be. So that's it. And I basically went like at 1/8 inch from that corner here of that one pole in, and then I went, yeah, about the same, a little bit more. Honestly, I can't give you measurements for this. This is something that you will just have to eyeball and do yourself. Okay, I got this all put together. Like I've said before, I'm gonna make some holes in here to put some poles in the back here, so when they go on to the, in here, they'll actually have bars in here, so there won't be a gap. But we're gonna work on the door, and what I'm gonna do is 1.5 inch piece of wood and another 1.5 inch piece of wood. Like I said, we're gonna change this up, so that's where I'm going to next. Okay, now I realized before I continue on, yes, I still want it to be 1.5 inches, but the placement of the circles or the holes for the fencing for the gate are going to have to be different. One is going to have to start here, and then we will have to go from there, and then I will go 1/4 inch or so just to get that right. So there will be a total of, for the door, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars. I'm sure you guys can't really see this, but I'm gonna start here, which is about 1/8 in from the line, and then I just went basically kind of like 1/4 inch down all the way through. There will be a total of 5 poles for the, or 5 bars for the gate. So here is the bottom bar that will hold all the gate bars in place. Now what I have to do is put this on top of another one and basically trace where the circles are on this and then go cut those out too. So I'll be right back. So there they are, both the metal bars that I need to put the gate poles in. And as you can tell, if you can see that, none of them are really quite centered. So this will be quite interesting when I put it together. And then where they are going to go on the pole, where they will swivel off it, I might have to round these corners off so it doesn't hit the other poles, but we'll see what happens. So I'm gonna make these poles for in here, they're gonna be 1.25 inches long. So I need 5 of them. So I'm gonna get to that and then I'll be back with this assembled. So I have the gate together. I have to push this wood down a little bit more so it's a little bit, so I can actually get that in there. But it is pretty much done. It was a bit of a pain to do. I had a real hard time assembling it together. I think the best thing to do is maybe take one end, which I took this end on here, and I ended up sanding the ends down around them a bit to make them a little bit thinner so they would fit in there. I was just trying to get them in there and push this down and pray it wouldn't break. So you have to be very, very delicate with this to do this. And now after I get that up, I am going to have to take this apart and slide this on there. So that will be an interesting try too. So there you guys go. I am almost done. I got to do the bars on the top, and then we can put this on the original piece and move on to the wire. Now that we have the gate done, I am going to have to put this in here and do it very slowly. And what I'm gonna need to do is just get a little dent in there with the wood so I know where it's going, and then take some kind of tool like a point of a pen or something else and just make some small little holes and then just slowly push that in and try to glue it into place. So that's what I'm gonna do, and when I come back, I'll show you what it looks like. Now the gate is officially done, so what I'm gonna do is glue it in, hold it in place, and let it dry overnight. And then we'll move on to the wiring. So next we are gonna move on to the torch lights that are gonna go on these pillars here. And I've already got one designed up already. It's already done, but I'm gonna show you how I did it, and then we can move on. So first I've got these pre-wired flickering LED lights. I will throw a link down to where I got them from Amazon. Next we have this, I don't know what it is, some kind of tack, some kind of decoration piece. It's like probably like a corner piece or something to hold leather to. We're gonna use this, but I have to knock the nail out, so I'll do that with a hammer. And then we're gonna have to make the hole in here a little bit bigger, so you're gonna need a drill and a drill bit, and I think it's 3/8, or not 3/8, I think we're gonna use a 1/8, maybe a little bit bigger for this. I'm not sure, I'll let you know right there. And then we have this decorative jewelry piece. I'm not sure what the heck you'd even use it for really, but I thought it would be awesome for the torch light to go in and everything else, and then have that design. But what we're gonna have to do with this first, I have learned, is we've got to get the wiring through this, and it's so thin that at first I tried putting it through the holes and I realized, that's not gonna work. So what we gotta do is, it's just a thin piece of tin. And basically I gotta open it up a bit, take some snips here, these wire snips, and I just make the hole, or a hole in this, a little bit bigger. Now we're gonna take our pre-wired flickering light and we're gonna bend it about halfway up this, where the tubing is, where the heat shrink tubing is, and I'm gonna bend it like just like that. And then I'm gonna set that in here. And I don't know if I made that hole big enough. And there, you don't have to make it very big. Doesn't look like it's the right size, so I might have to, but as I said, it's just a cheap piece of tin. So now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this nail and knock it out, which I'm gonna do that off camera because I'm not gonna do it here on this table. Okay, and now I have the nail out of this, and I just have this piece here. So now I got to make that hole bigger, so I'm just going to use probably the drill bit I have on my drill press now, or I'll go to a bigger one. Okay, now that I have my 1/8 drill bit hole drilled through the center, which I had to put that on a vise and then just slowly screw a hole through this, or make the hole on there a little bit bigger. So now I can run this up, put this in here just like that, and then go ahead and get my hot glue gun going and super glue that to that so it stays there. And then I'll add some glue to this and try to do some flame work on it. And that's just basically kind of just teasing the hot glue and then just blowing on it and trying to get it to cool off, and try to get it to look like a flame, which can be a tricky art, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. So while I was off camera, I took this tool here and I went ahead and poked a hole in the center brick and centered it the best I could. So I'm basically going to do the same thing here. So before I continue on and do the LED lights for this, I ended up going to Walmart this weekend and I ended up buying the sticks that were needed for the gate of this prison cell. Now, I was comparing these to the 1/8 dowels that they have in the craft department. And this is where I got these, of course, in the craft department. I was comparing these to them, and these are like half the size of one of those 1/8 dowels. Or very close to being about half, maybe a little more than half. So I really don't know what the size of these are. They do not say on there at all. They just say wooden dowel, and that's it. There's nothing on there for size at all, which I thought was kind of crazy, but I picked up 5 of these, and when they get them in stock again, I'm gonna snag them up again. I mean, these are only like 94 cents or something, so, you know, under $1. And I'm definitely gonna buy whatever else they have coming back out if they do, because I know eventually they're gonna stop carrying this and I'm not gonna be able to get it. So if I was you guys and you wanna do this project, go to your local Walmart, see if they have these. I think it's a 50 count. And grab what you can, man, because I know them. They're not gonna have it for long, guys. So I have my LEDs all done, painted up, and ready to go. I did not clip the wiring because I will do that before I solder the battery clip to it and get that going. So I just wanted to show you guys these and what they look like. Hopefully that will focus on there for you guys. But anyways, let me go ahead and poke these through the holes that I put in here. Now I did seal this project already with the sealant that I use. I can't remember the name of it. I used a different one this time. It's more of a water-based seal, and it worked pretty good. So now I got my lights in there, and what I want to do before I get too carried away is I'm just going to dab some hot glue on the back of them. Not too much. There we go. Just pull that all the way in and hold it in place until it dries. Make sure it's all squared up, which it is. So what I'm gonna do, guys, is I'm just gonna bring the wiring down to here. Now I could just glue that in place, and I might not. I'm not sure. I'm going to clip some of this wiring about halfway on here just to have enough room to solder the battery to it, and then we'll be good to go. So here is the finished prison cell with LED torch lights, and the gate actually opens and closes. So what are your thoughts of the prison cell with LED torch lights? Leave me a comment and let me know. And if you want, leave me a comment and let me know what you would like me to make in a future video. And if you like this content, please subscribe, and like always, ring that like button like a hunchback. Until next time, guys.